So continue with our example 10 we showed you earlier. So in the example 10, we declare an numbers vector. So then initially we have 5 elements. Then we using the pushback to add 5 more elements to the end. So then you can see in the size member function from the vector, we can display currently how many elements in the vector. So now your turn now. So continue with example 10. Can you add another int? How about we using double? Yeah, so that's using a double vector. I want you to create a vector data type is double. We call scores. So then you have the size equal to 30. And each initial value for all the elements equal to 100. So can you define the scored vector? Let's do together. So here continue, that's define. We're just using this one, we continue. So we define. So like earlier we say let's declare a scores vector data type is double. So the size equal to 30 and the default value equal to 100. So that's here. How we will do is, remember you want to declare a vector. So that's the vector class name. So then the data type will be in angle bracket. So we do double. So then continue, you need to have the object name called scores. So after that, remember we want to have the size equal to 30 and with the default value. So this one we don't using the initializer. We will specify the size and the default value in the parentheses after the object name. So this one actually we call the default, we call the constructor function from the vector. So you pass in the size is 30, then the value is 100. So then you say, okay, after I done that, how do I know I make that correctly? So that's why here you see, right, that's display the vector element. So since earlier we already have the for each loop, right? So how about we using the for each loop? We display numbers earlier. So then we add another one. We display the vector element. So then you can copy this one. So then we paste, but here we display for the scores. Okay, so then you can see, did you declare the scores with the default value 100 or not? So then we can run the program. To see here, right, you see beginning we have the size of the vector, but that's for the number. So we display number. Okay, so afterwards you see we display our double score. So that's why you will see here they have 100. Then we have 30, 100. So that's why we know we declare correctly. So if you want, of course, you can see out some information. So then we can know this one is for the scores vector. Okay, so here we introduce you how to declare a vector using the initializer, or you can using the constructor. So continue, I want to show you another one is we have pushback, right? So we add data at the end to the vector. But then actually we have the other one we call pushback to add to the end of the vector. Then also we have the other one we call the pop back. So you can see push and the pop, they kind of is opposite to each other. So earlier if we push back, the member function will add your new data to the end of your vector. So if you do the pop back, that means you will have the member function to remove the last element from your vector. So that's why here, if you have your vector name called score, you do the pop back. So then they will remove the last one. So then we'll see here, how should we do that? So let me demonstrate to you here, and you will see that's from this one. So we're just using this one for here. After we declare the score, so then we will display the score data, right? So that's here. That's remove this one is for the scores. So now I just want to see here, because they are all data is 100, so difficult to see. So that's why how about I show you here. We're using the numbers. So the numbers after we push back, so then we display all the vector elements from the numbers. So you will see from 10 to 100. So after we display that, so then let's see out this one. Okay, we just say see out the content of the vector after pop back. Okay, so here we just display. I just want to call the for loop function again. So we display the vector element again. So after the content, after the push pop back, that's display again. So of course here I need to pop. So I want to show you if I do the pop back from the numbers. So then we call numbers. So then you see here, after I add 10, 20, 30, 40 to 100. So then I do pop back. So when you do the pop back, actually you don't need to pass in anything because they just remove the last one. So then here, how about we just do one time? So then you will see this 100 will be gone. So then we will display the numbers vector again. So here, since we don't want to display the score vector, so that me comment out here because you already see the example earlier. Okay, so then we run the program again to see what happened. So then you will see here, right? Because earlier we pushed back until 100. So that's what we display. So then you see the content of the vector after pop back. So then you see after we display the first time, then we display the content of the vector after the pop back. So I call pop back. So then when I display the content again for the vector, you will see they still have 10 to 80. But then you see because we remove the 100, let me go up a little bit. Yeah, because I pop back 100. So that's why you see when we display using the for each loop again, so then 100 didn't display. So then the size of the vector here, actually we can change to after the pop back. Then they will display only 9. Okay, so let me check to make sure you understand what we're doing. So here I only pop back one time, right? So if you want, let's pop back again. So I pop back twice. That's why here, after the 10, 100, I pop back, so 10 would be out. So then pop back, so 90 will be removed. So then you see it display again. They won't have 90 and 80. So after the pop back, the size will become 8. So then you will see the output here. Okay, so you see here, originally we have 10 to 100, but afterward we only have 10 to 80. So that's the member function about vector. So here we can show you actually vector is very flexible. You can initialize with the data. So then you can initialize with initializer, or you can specify your size. You can initialize with the initializer, or you can specify the size and the default value. And afterward, they have flexible capacity. So that's why you can push back to the end. You also can pop back to remove the data from the end. So that's we show you about the member function. So the member function, you have the pushback, pop back, you have size. So then here, if you want to remove all the content from the vector, you can also call another member function we call clear. So when you call clear, actually all the data is gone. Or you can check if the vector is empty or not. So if that empty, that means you have no element. So the empty member function will return true or false. So we can quickly to see the next two example for the clear function. So you can see here in the example 14, I can declare a vector data type is int. So the vector name is values. So if your parenthesis, you only have one argument, so we know this one actually is the size of the vector. So we allocate 100 data. So if we don't specify, they will initialize to 0. So afterward, you see, after you declare that the value for the vector, we will have size. We can call the size member function. They will tell you they have 100 elements. But if you call the clear function, they will remove all the elements from the values vector. So that's why now they have 0 element. So I didn't give you the sample output because I want you to download example 14 and run from your IDE. So let's post the video and do that. So I hope you post the video and download your example 14 from your IDE. So you see we still include the vector, but here we declare our vector values with the size. So then you see after we declare that you call the size function, they will show you the vector have 100 elements. But if I call the clear function, all the elements from the value will be gone. So if you call the size function again, they will show you the value of the vector has 0 element. So that's run the result. So you can see after you initialize that, they have 100 elements. But after the clear function, they have 0 element. So that's our size function again. And what is the clear function? So after the clear function, also we have the empty function example like earlier we showed you. So empty, we say this member function actually is return true or false. So that's why here we can continue to see the example actually from example 15. So, sorry, example 14. I want to show you example 14, continue with that. So example 14, you see after you clear that, right? So then we can see out. So here we can do if statement. Okay, so here you have your size function. After you clear, so that's why you have 0 element, right? So continue, I want to show you the empty function. So the empty function actually they will return true or false. So of course, after you clear the vector, is this vector empty? So that's why here they will return true. So if they return true, we just display the vector is empty. Else, that means it's not. So then the vector is not empty. So then you can rerun the example 14. Yeah, then we can see here because this one, after clear, the vector is empty. So they will return true. So that's why they will display the vector is empty. So that's couple member function for the vector you can use for.